Imagine a field where crops flourish without the need for pesticides, where they grow faster than ever before, and essential nutrients enrich every bite. This is not a fantasy, it's the reality we have achieved through GMOs.
Good day everyone, my name is Luis Paulo P. Vicente, the leader of Group 1, and we are here to tackle about the topic biotechnology, focusing on the genetically modified organisms. Before we discuss our main topic, genetically modified organisms, let's first talk about biotechnology. Biotechnology encompasses the use of living organisms or their systems to create products or processes that benefit society. It often involves manipulating biological systems for various purposes. Modern achievements of biotechnology include genetic engineering, transgenics, cloning, DNA profiling, hybridization, and others. This will be discussed later on in details in our discussion. Biotechnology has been applied in various fields. In waste management, it is used to create a new biodegradable materials. One such material is made from lactic acid produced by a bacteria, creating a material with properties of plastic but is biodegradable. In mining industries, it is applied to improve mining process. One example is the use of Thiobacillus peroxidans, a bacteria, to form a compound of copper sulfate which can be treated chemically to obtain pure copper. In medicine, it is used for diagnosing, treating, and preventing diseases. One example is the gene therapy. Gene therapy is used to treat genetic disorders, usually by the insertion of a normal or correct gene to an individual. In agriculture, it is used to improve crop cultivation, livestock breeding, and food production. Example of this will be given later on in our discussion.
Now we will tackle about genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is the direct manipulation of organisms' genes using biotechnology techniques to eliminate unwanted traits or to produce desirable new ones. These can include modifying DNA sequences to achieve specific traits or function. Here are the genetic engineering techniques. One is selective breeding. Selective breeding is the first known technique and is still used today. It involves choosing organisms with desired traits and breeding them to enhance those traits over generations, relying on natural genetic variation. One of the most well-known examples of selective breeding is the domestic dog. Dogs are believed to have descended from wolves, but through selective breeding over thousands of years, we have created hundreds of different dog breeds. Hybridization, on the other hand, involves the breeding of two different species or varieties to produce offspring with desirable traits from both parents. Example of hybridization is a zonkey. Zonkey, which is the product of a zebra and a donkey. DNA profiling. DNA profiling is also known as DNA fingerprinting. It involves analyzing an individual's unique DNA sequence for identification purposes. While primarily used in forensics and paternity testing, DNA profiling techniques are also integral in genetic engineering to identify and manipulate specific genes. Cloning. Cloning is a genetic engineering technique which involves isolating a specific DNA, inserting it into an egg cell without nucleus and introducing it into a host organism, also called a surrogate mother, resulting in genetically identical copies or clones of the original DNA sequence.
I am J. Darby Acosalem of Group 1. Examples of clone animals.
Dolly the sheep. Dolly, born on July 5, 1996, was a female sheep, named after the country western singer Dolly Parton. Dolly's creation was the result of a complex process known as somatic cell nuclear transfer. Dolly died on February 14, 2003, at age 6 from a lung infection. Snappy the dog. Snappy, whose name is a combination of SNU, which is Seoul National University in South Korea, and Papi, led by Hang Woo-sok, a former SNU professor of biotechnology. Somatic cell cloning technique used to create Snappy was similar to the one that created Dolly. Snappy died at the age of 10 while undergoing treatment for cancer. An exact cause of death was not given. Parnion ibex. Parnion ibex, also known as the Bocardo or Spanish ibex. Through cloning, a living specimen was born in July 2003. However, she died several minutes after birth due to a lung defect. Parnion ibex remains the only animal to have ever been brought back from extinction and also the only one to go extinct twice. Lastly, Sissy the cat. The first clone cat, Sissy, short for carbon copy, is the name given to the first clone pet in the world. The cloning process involved taking a cell from the ear of an adult calico cat and using somatic cell nuclear transfer to create an embryo. Sissy was born on December 22, 2001 and was an exact genetic replica of the adult calico cat from which the original cell was taken. The world's first clone cat has passed away on March 4, 2020 after being diagnosed with kidney failure.
Cloning human is considered unethical and is banned into many countries including our country, the Philippines, because the risk associated with reproductive cloning in humans introduce a very high likelihood of loss of life. The last technique is the gene splicing. This technique used to cut and join together different DNA segments. This process allows scientists to remove, replace, or insert specific genes into an organism's genome, enabling the creation of genetically modified organisms with desired traits.
Hello everyone, I am Emilio M. Abon, BSE E2B, one of the member of Group 1. Today, we will tackle what is genetic modified organism and the advantage and disadvantage of this.
So genetically modified organisms are living organisms whose genetic material is altered using genetic engineering techniques involving deleting of certain DNA or introducing specific DNA sequences to import desired traits. So ang mga GMO or genetically modified organisms daw ay ang mga buhay na organismo na binago ang kanilang genetic material gamit ang mga technique ng genetic engineering. Ito ay kadalasang nangangahulugan ng pagtanggal ng tiyak na bahagi ng DNA o pagpasok ng mga tiyak na mga DNA sequence upang magdulot ng mga ninanais na katangian. So ngayon, dako naman tayo sa advantage of GMOs. So meron tayong dalawang field na nakaka-benefit sa GMO. Ito ay ang agriculture and medicine. So unahin na natin ang agriculture. So first, enhance crop traits for increased productivity and sustainability. So, pinapabuti ang mga katangian na pananim upang mapataas ang produksyon at maging sustainable ito. Ito rin ay nagpapahintulot sa mga magsasaka na magkaroon ng mas maraming ani gamit ng parehong lupain at panatili ang kalusugan ng lupa para sa mga susunod na pananim. So pangalawa, resist pests, diseases, and environmental diseases. So meaning, nakakabawas ito sa mga peste, sakit, at mga stress mula sa kapaligiran. Ito ay nagbibigay ng proteksyon sa pananim laban sa mga nakakasira sa kanila, na nagre-resulta ng mas mataas na ani at mas mababang pagkawasak. Pangatlo, improve nutritional content and adapt to changing climate conditions. So, meaning din ito is pinalalakas ang nutritional content at nakakasunod sa mga pagbabagong klima. Sa pamamagitan ng pagbabago ng genetic ng pananim, maaring mapabuti ang mga sustansya na matatagpuan sa mga ito. Pati na rin ang kanilang kakayahan na makisabay sa mga pagbabago sa klima. So last is yung reduce chemical inputs for environmental sustainability. So binabawasan ang paggamit ng chemical para sa kalikasan. Sa pamamagitan ng pagpapabuti ng mga katangian ng pananim, maaaring mabawasan ang pangangailangan ng pestisidyo or pesticide at iba pang chemical na maaari makakaapekto sa kalikasan at kalusugan ng mga tao. So next is sa field ng medicine. So ngayon, dako naman tayo sa medicine. So in the field of medicine, GMO plays a pivotal role in producing pharmaceutical vaccines, and therapeutic proteins using genetically engineered microorganisms or plants, offering more efficient and cost-effective methods of production. Sa pamamagitan daw ng paggawa ng mga gamot, bakuna o therapeutic proteins gamit ang genetically engineered microorganisms o halaman, mas pinapadali daw at pinapamura ang pagproseso at paggawa ng mga ito. Ibig sabihin, mas mabilis at mas mura ang produksyon na maaring magdulot ng mas maraming gamot at bakuna para sa mas maraming tao. Sa ganitong paraan, mas napapalawak ang akses ng mga tao sa mga mahalagang pangkalusugan na kailangan nila. Sa pangalawa, developing genetically modified bacteria for medical treatments, such as insulin production, revolutionizing the treatment of various diseases and disorders. So, ang pagpapaunlad ng mga genetically modified na bacteria para sa mga medical na paggamot tulad ng produksyon ng insulin ay nagbubukas ng mga bagong posibilidad sa paggamot ng iba't ibang sakit at karamdaman. Sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng genetically modified na bacteria, maaari nating mas mapadali at mapamura ang produksyon ng mga mahalagang gamot tulad ng insulin. Ito ay isang malaking hakbang sa pagpapabuti ng kalusugan ng mga tao at nagbubukas ng pintuan sa mga bagong paraan ng paggamot. So sa concerns of GMOs naman tayo. So despite their potential benefits, GMOs raise several concerns including if GMOs are safe to be consumed or kung ligtas bang pagkain ng mga GMO. So maraming individual at grupo ang nag-aalala sa posibleng epekto ng GMO sa kalusugan ng tao. So pangalawa, if they pose environmental threats or kung mayroon silang banta sa kapaligiran. So ang ilang mga tao ay nag-aalala na ang mga GMO ay maaaring magdulot ng hindi inaasang pagbabago sa kalikasan at maaaring makakaapekto sa biodiversity. So syempre, iniisip din lang naman natin ang makakabuti sa atin. So pangatlo, if they are classified as artificial crops. Kung sila ay tinuturing na artificial na pananim. May mga nagmumungkahi kasi na ang mga GMO ay labag sa natural na pag-unlad ng mga pananim at maaaring magdulot ng problema sa ekonomiya or ekolohiya. So last, if biotech corporations are efficient in controlling most technology needed to develop GMOs. So, kung ang korporasyon bang ito ay epektibo sa pagkontrol ng karamihan sa teknolohiyang kinakailangan upang likhain ang mga GMO. So, may mga pag-aalala kasi sa pagiging kontrolado ng mga korporasyong bioteknolohiya sa industriya ng paggawa daw ng GMO at ang implikasyon nito sa kalakaran ng industriya at ekonomiya.
Samples of genetically modified organisms or GMOs. One is BT corn. BT corn in the Philippines was mainly developed to be resistant to the Asian corn borer, one of the nation's most destructive corn pests. The crop also presents a practical and ecological sustainable solution for poor corn farmers everywhere to increase their yields and decrease pesticides use. Another is golden rice. Golden rice is like ordinary rice but enriched with beta-carotene, which the body converts into vitamin A as needed. While ordinary rice does not produce beta-carotene, it is not found in the grain. Thus, scientists harness genes from corn in a common soil bacterium to produce beta-carotene in the rice grain. BT eggplant. It contains a natural protein from the soil bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis that makes it resistant to eggplant fruit and shoot borer. The BT protein in eggplant only affects EFSB and is proven safe for humans, farm animals, and non-target insects. Last example is BT cotton. BT cotton includes a gene taken from the soil bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis, which was also introduced in corn and eggplant in the Philippines. BT crops defend themselves against pests, and the use of chemical insecticides is significantly reduced.
Hi everyone, my name is Marjorie Pandaya and I'm one of the members of Group 1 and I am here to discuss the stand of the Philippines about the genetically modified organisms. The Philippines continues to be a leader in biotechnology in Southeast Asia, having been the first region to have regulatory framework and genetically engineered crops. In 2019, the Philippines ranked at 12 among 29 countries in the world planting biotech crops. Research and development, continuous on other potential genetically engineered crops, and the country is moving toward developing genetically engineered animals. According to the Livestock Biotechnology Center, artificial insemination is the most widely applied animals biotechnology, allowing significant genetic improvement for productivity. There are no genetically engineered or genome-edited animals or clone under development. The Philippines is still at the stage of DNA barcoding for livestock and poultry. Based on the study on public perception in agribiotechnology, published by ISA on May 2023, Filipino stakeholders in general are supportive at biotechnology in crops production, but support is not as solid in terms of biotech in animals production.